2, 3, 4.
Run up your engines! Got a Toyota Camry, guy was driving it down the road, it overheated, so he parked it for 6 months. Now we gotta figure out, why did it overheat? As you can see, it sat for a while. It's a bird crapping special. There it is, not the greatest shape. And we go inside, we'll check out how many miles this sucker has. Well, you know it'd be on the wrong thing, so, alrighty. It's got 176,000 miles. Now with that kind of mileage, could be a serious problem, or it could be something as dumb as the thermostat stuck shut on it. We're gonna charge it up because the battery's dead, and at least that shows some good news, because you can see it's charging now. If the battery was completely shot, it wouldn't go into the green, it'd stay around 0. Well, it isn't, so at least the battery's gonna be good enough to start it after a while. So let's start it up and start analyzing. Okay, I got it running. It's been idling for half an hour. Let's check the temperature gauge. It's been sitting for 6-9 months. It's been sitting here for half an hour. It's still not even hot. It's not even halfway. So, it's gonna be a real challenge trying to figure out why this thing was overheating. So, let's turn the AC on full blast. Now we can check the cooling fans. And by the way, the AC still blows cold. We'll go on and check the cooling fans. That one's blowing. And that one's blowing. They're working. So here we are, scratching our heads. It's been sitting there half an hour. It's not overheating. The cooling fans work. And when we look under it, there's nothing leaking either. So what are we gonna do, just give up? Well, no, Scotty never gives up. We're gonna remove the thermostat. The thermostat is on the engine. It's closed when it's cold, so the engine warms up faster. Then as it gets hot, the spring opens up and lets the water go from the engine to the radiator to cool it. That could have just stuck. There's springs. This baby's what? 19 years old. So of course, the spring could go bad. But of course now it's hot as can be. So we're gonna let the engine cool off with a giant fan for half an hour so we don't burn our little hands. Well, we can turn the fan off and get to work now. Now there are pluses and minuses of what I'm gonna do, but it's an old car, got a ton of miles on it. You can see it's in pretty crappy shape. So we're just gonna remove the thermostat. You can put a new one in, but here's my thoughts on this car. Old worn out, might not fix anything. What the heck? You take the thermostat out, you get more flow. You get more flow, odds are it's gonna cool better. Now on a more modern car, you can't do this because it'll trip a code for engine running too cool. You check engine light will come on. But on these old things, heck, we're just gonna take it out and then drive it around and see if it overheats or not. Now this thing, the thermostat's hiding. We look around, it's inside the thermostat housing here. We gotta take a few little things off, so we're gonna do that to get to it. Now the housing has a bolt which you're gonna take off here. It holds it all in place. This one's a 20mm. Just break it loose and take it off. Off it goes. Cool's gonna drip, so we'll stick a pan under. That'll catch some of the drips. And as you can see here now, we can wiggle it and get it out of the way. Out it comes. That's out of the way. Then we get a 10mm deep well socket that's long, and we take the bolts off that hold the thermostat housing in place. Not that much working room, but it can be done. There's one nut, there's 2, and 3. Now we can wiggle it off. Man, that sucker's stuck. Been on there so long. So I got the giant screwdriver pry bar. We'll put it behind there. We'll wiggle it off. There it goes. Try some more. And with some cursing and swearing, there's a stupid thing. And we can see it's pretty much stuck shut. What we're gonna do is we want to keep the sealing ring. We're just gonna cut the thermostat out using clippers. Little here, little there. Eventually, it will break through. Gotta be strong with these things. There we go, there's half of it. Now when we cut the other side, we don't want this anymore. We'll just put this back inside and bolt it on. Now to prevent the bolt from falling out of your socket, get a little piece of plastic like this, rip a little piece off, stick the nut inside, and rip some edge. That holds it in so it won't fall out when we bolt it back on. As you can see, now that the housing's pushed in place, we can start the nut and get it on without it falling and us swearing and screaming because the nut fell in a hole. As you can see, now it's on, it won't fall off. We can tighten it up. We don't have to worry about it falling off. Then we do the same thing with the other two. Push the plastic on and bolt them on. get them nice and tight with your ratchet, all three of them. Done with a new O-ring on the end, slide that pipe in, wiggle it around, slide it in. To get your bolt the bracket so it doesn't pop out. That's what holds it in place. If you don't bolt it on tight, it'll pop out. This is what holds it in place. You want to get nice and snug. You don't want it popping out. Got a long bolt on it, doesn't it? Man alive, they got carried away with themselves with this one. There. Then of course we fill it up with coolant. The pink coolant for Toyota, of course. Just fill it up. And since there's no thermostat in it, we don't have to wait it to warm up. We can start it and fill it to the top. Now we can take it for a good half-hour road test. But it's so filthy from sitting, I'm going to rinse it off first. Didn't overheat at all, so we'll let them drive it and see how long it lasts. Because sometimes something as simple as a broken thermostat will make your car overheat and you can fix it yourself easily. And here's some bonus questions and answers. Cleaver Smith says, Scotty, 15 to 19 Mustang, what's best, 5-liter or 4-cylinder? 6-speed automatic transmission's good. Yeah, the 6-speeds are good. I definitely go V8. I'm not a fan of the EcoBoost 4-cylinder engines. They do put out a lot of horsepower, but I was working on one the other day, and the guy was getting rid of the vehicle because it was having too many problems with 100,000 miles. The V8 is not going to wear out at 100,000 miles. And those EcoBoost 4-cylinder engines that put out 300-something horsepower, they often wear out at that kind of miles. Christopher Lucas says, Scotty, 04 Corolla, starter works intermittently. If I take it out and put it on a battery, it works. Once in the car, it's hit or miss. Could it be something else besides the starter? Well, of course it can. Starters don't start because either they're breaking down internally or they're not getting the right amount of power. If the ground wire from your battery to the starter to the engine block isn't working right, it might not start. If the power wire has got a problem, it might not start. If the ignition switch is going out, it might not start. So you got to check all those things. Now, what I do as a mechanic, and any mechanic can do it, is we load test the starter. We got a machine we hook up, and when you start the car, you see how many amps it draws. And if it draws too many amps, you know it's going out and it's time to change it. But you're not going to be able to do that. But you can certainly check to see if the cables are loose or dirty or corroded on both ends, on the battery and both where they bolt onto the engine. It can be as simple as a dirty, corroded connector. I see that all the time. Marcia Minaj said, is a noisy timing chain on 05 Matrix a problem? 230,000 kilometers. Well, it depends. Now, a lot of them with that kind of mileage on it, the tensioner gets a little worn, but only on startup. So you start it up, you hear a noise, but then very soon it goes away and doesn't come back until it gets cold and you start it up again. And in that case, I've had people live with them for years. But if it's noisy the whole time, you better fix the tensioner sooner than later, because then it might let loose. But a lot of them will make a noise. As soon as you start it and it goes away, you can drive them for years that way. Mo Savage says, Dodge Dart 2016 40K, goodbye? Goodbye. I'd say goodbye if you buy that car. It'd be a goodbye for the guy selling it to you. Those Dodge Darts are rolling piles of crap. They're basically Fiats. They got Italian engines and transmissions. They were junk, and they're not selling them anymore either, for good reason. Run away. The only thing that shares with the old 70s Dodge Darts that are collector's items is the name. The vehicle has nothing to do with those old muscle car Dodge Darts. Nothing whatsoever. XC Racer 530 says, Scotty, do you work on customers' motorcycles or just cars and trucks? Well, just cars and trucks, really. Every once in a blue moon, if I have a customer who's also a friend, I might help them out with their motorcycle here or there. But I only work on my own motorcycles because motorcycles are different than cars. Motorcycles are basically toys. So when you want parts for them, they're extremely expensive because you can't go to AutoZone and buy parts for most motorcycles. You got to go to the dealer, and they're going to ream you, just like with cars. Imagine if every time you had to work on your car, you had to go to the dealer to buy parts. They'd be extremely high. Well, there's competition for it because people use cars all the time. So there's competition. There's other companies that make parts. Motorcycles? No. Everything is prerogative. Give you an idea. If I need something like an ignition module for a motorcycle, it might be $500. For a car, I can go to AutoZone, get one for $50. So, that's why I don't work on other people's motorcycles. It can get too expensive to do it correctly, and they're really hellacious to get parts for. And I know guys that do work on motorcycles, and most of them ended up going bankrupt because they couldn't make enough money. The people with the motorcycles would say, oh, that's too expensive. I don't want you to fix it. Where with a car, you got to fix it because you're driving to work in it. I don't like playing with other people's toys, only my own. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.